Mayor Johnson, your approval ratings are at an historic low. The recent 50-0 vote on your property tax, your $300 million property tax increase, suggests that you've lost control of the Chicago City Council. Chicagoans on the street are telling me that your liquor tax is nothing more than a tax on the working man to fund your plan to hide migrants from Donald Trump and Tom Homan. At what point will you put Chicago first? At what point will you shift to putting Chicagoans ahead of migrants?
Well, as I've said from the very beginning, it's always been a part of my value system to invest in people. And that's why in this budget, and you've seen it in my previous budget, we made a commitment to hire young people. Last year, almost 70% of those who received jobs through our youth investment were black children. In fact, 97% of those young people were black and brown. The 3,400 new affordable homes that we have put forward, this was very much what people were calling for, and we've done that. The people of Chicago know that we have to invest more in our behavioral and mental health apparatus, and we've done that. And the people of Chicago also know that we have to have a community safety comprehensive plan that invests in people, and we make sure that our women and men who serve our city have the resources that they need. The $20 billion of new investments that are in the city of Chicago through PsiQuantum and the 1901 project, the fact that we continue to see a growth in our community colleges where more young black men are registering for community colleges because they see a future in this city. We're talking about in some neighborhoods where investment has not taken place in a very long time. I can tell you along Madison Street, there hasn't been a comprehensive investment on Madison Street since the uprisings and the riots in 1968. And there are hundreds of millions of dollars of new investments along the Madison Street corridor that includes expanding the campus at Malcolm X. I mean, these are things that previous administrations just refused to do. There's another example with our TIF surplus. Many administrations were stingy with the dollars that, quite frankly, are for Chicagoans. 2 consecutive years in a row, the largest comprehensive TIF surplus declaration than we've seen in this city. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars for our schools, our parks, for county government, for our community colleges. So, I think one way that I believe that we can continue to see these type of investments take place is for, again, all of us to come together to fight for progressive revenue. There was an opportunity for us to do that a cycle and a half ago, and the interests of corporations, the ultra wealthy in this state, Ken Griffin in particular, spent more money to defeat the tax than he would have had to pay. To me, that just didn't make any sense. That's not putting Chicagoans first. In fact, I believe 73+% of Chicagoans supported that progressive form of revenue, 80% in black wards. And so those were efforts that I led and was a part of. And in this position, with key investments in healthcare, education, responding to the unhoused crisis, a one shelter system for people to be able to have a place to stay in the event life doesn't favor them. We're going to continue to build systems of care in every aspect of government to ensure that these investments remain critical and that they remain intentional and that they actually show for the people of Chicago. Did you have a follow-up?
Real Chicagoans tell me that after they attended the Christmas tree lighting ceremony that was disrupted by hundreds of violent youth, and a woman was shot in the doorway of Macy's, they tell me that the hundreds of millions of dollars that you're spending on these violent youth programs simply aren't working. At what point will you course correct and acknowledge that these programs are not working and perhaps consider listening to law enforcement and other voices.
So the people of Chicago believe in our young people. They do. And so the dollars that we're spending to ensure that young people have summer jobs and year-round positions, people want to see those investments. They really do. And furthermore, the people of Chicago appreciate the fact that we have 200 detectives, more than we had prior. People appreciate that we have brand new helicopters. No other administration has been able to deliver that. People appreciate that. Now, is there more work to be done? Of course. Look, this city has been run a certain way for 30 years. And, you know, two budgets certainly won't be enough to turn the tide completely around for the people of this city. Now, again, first 18 months of office, $20 billion of new investment. No one can take that away from Chicago. Still the top destination for corporate relocation in this country. Voted as the best big city in America. What is it now, 8 years in a row? Just saying, and there are more people, I can tell you, my chief operations officer can speak to this, John speak to this, that the business community and the investments that are coming, we haven't seen anything like this in a very long time. I can tell you 2 previous administrations ago, when property taxes were raised $500 million 3 years in a row, and there were people in that chamber who voted for them, they also saw the pension deficit grow by $7 billion, and our credit rating was junk status. That's what it looked like 2 administrations ago. Our ability to transform this city in just 18 months, when things have been jacked up and messed up for a very long time. Because some of the same people that you critique, I fought against. I did. It turns out I actually ran against Democrats because they weren't doing their job. I took a rest outside of the elevators on this first floor when 2 administrations ago was shutting down schools in black communities. And so in 18 months, the decades of decay won't necessarily get eradicated in the first 18 months. But I can tell you one thing for sure, we will eradicate it though.